Everyone. Good evening to all our friends here in the US. It's 2 days after the election, the presidential election, right? And everyone is anxious about what the turnout is going to be. And that will dictate, obviously, the future of this country. Meanwhile, we at Quantum GK are excited to have another episode. This will be our episode 9. And with us this evening is one of the board of directors of Gawad Kalinga USA, Miss Carol Tulud. Hi, Tita Carol. I call her Tita Carol. I'm pretty sure those of you who have worked with her, especially our friends in the Houston area, would also call her Tita Carol. You have a lot of children in your family, right, Tita Carol?
Yeah.
Musta?
Hello, Donna. Mabuti.
Are you up, like really in full gear in preparing for your event this coming, when is it, November 21st? I believe it is, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm getting
it's
my
our
cheat sheet.
first time to do this. So pray for us. And yes, we're really trying to market it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But I really want to start this Kwento. Kwentong GK is our weekly kwentuhan with our GK family and people who may not be officially or hold a position or whatever, or officially work or volunteer for GK, but have their own Gawad Kalinga story to tell. But actually, Carol is officially part of Gawad Kalinga as one of our board of directors and also the area director for Houston for many years until Alex Gutierrez took over as now the area director. So, Tita Carol, kwentuhan mo muna kami. First of all, how did you start in the US? I know we're Kabalens, right? We're both Kapampangan. So we both come from Pampanga province in the Philippines, north of the Philippines, or Central Luzon, more specifically. But how did you start your life here in the US?
I came here in 78.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and at first I was not able to get a job that is really appropriate for my degree. So I really started from the very low as data entry for a hospital. And then I worked for Washington National in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Be in their claims department. And then I think I got laid off and we moved to Houston. And here I got the same job working for Continental Bankers Insurance Company until, well, I got laid off again from there and was able to work in a psych hospital.
Okay. But psychology is not your background, is it, Tita?
My background is in economics, but I really have business experiences from when I was 7 years old. My parents have a lot of business in the Philippines, so
you have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Right. And after graduating college, I worked for them for a year until I came to the US. So when I worked at the hospital, I was assigned at the collection department. Didn't have any experience, but the comptroller gave me that position. I don't know, maybe he saw some potential in me. So I started doing collections and I was collecting a lot of money. And he said, how do you do it? I said, well, I treat them with kindness. So they're able to, manage their finances and all that and pay us. Yeah. So and he said, where did you learn that? I learned that from my mom. I said, Because my mom will always send me to people that owes her money, and then I'll go there, develop relationship and all that with them, and the next thing is they're paying me. So that's how and there um, I met a psychiatrist that was having problem with his business office, and he asked me to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After working for him for 9 months on a part-time basis, I saw the potential of him having a bigger practice. From a solo practice, within 6 months, we were able to recruit around 10 other clinicians. So I decided to work full time, and he decided to make me an industrial partner. So we developed that practice, and in year 2000, he decided to go back to solo practice. So to make my story short, I was able to own the practice on my own, even though I'm not a clinical person. And up to now, it's still there. Our clinicians remain loyal to us. Of course, they also know that part of our income goes to good cause in the Philippines. So they're being very supportive. Actually, some of them are my die-hard supporters for the missions that I do in the Philippines.
And I mean, your background, Tita Carol, is really interesting. How your I think your business background, your just natural, I guess, talent for building relationships and dealing with people really helped with how your group there in Houston has been successfully running fundraising and fundraising activities for Gawad Kalinga. And that's why I'm so excited to have you this evening, because there's so much we can learn from you, especially those areas who are struggling to reach out to people, or maybe they're just starting with the work of Gawad Kalinga in their area. So pay close attention with things that Tita Carol is going to be sharing with us. So Tita, so let's then move on to how did you end up, how did you start working for Gawad Kalinga, or doing the mission of Gawad Kalinga to help the poor in the Philippines?
Well, it started when my mom passed away in in December 2001. Before that, there was a tragedy in my family. My sister was actually had broken into their home, and she was murdered in our own home. Yeah.
This was in Pampanga, Tita?
This was in Pampanga. I think it was drug related. The kids there, they were kids, I think, that went, but it was never found out. So I'm not gonna go further with that. Mm-hmm. So with the pain that I have experienced, I said to myself, and my mom was still alive then, that I will never go home to the Philippines. Mm-hmm. So in March of 2002, this is after her death, I was asked to go home to the Philippines to do something for family. So I can't say no. Mm-hmm. So I said to myself, what am I going to do in the Philippines? Where I'm going to stay, because I don't want to stay at my house. So I thought about having a retreat for a graduating class, because that was like my retirement dream, that to be able to guide young people to see what they could be when they're older. So I called my dad who was there then. I said, Dad, can you take out all the dividers of our house? And he said, why? I said, well, I'm gonna make it like a retreat center, you know. So so my dad got excited because I would go home. So he
Mm-hmm.
connected, and I asked him to get it from the high school, get the people from the high school that is close by our house. And he
Mm-hmm.
got excited. He told the principal, and the principal organized everything. And he even made me a guest speaker at the graduation class. So I said, how will I be a guest speaker when I don't even know the kids and the kids don't know me? So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of really brought it to where if I have a retreat with them, they'll know me and they will be open-minded in what I'm going to discuss at the graduation class. And with that retreat, I found out that out of the 67 students, only one or two were able to go will be able to go to college because their dad were OFWs.
Okay.
So I don't know where the words came from, but at the end of the retreat, Tito Bong and I said, "Don't worry, we'll send you to college." You know, so
How many titas? 67 people.
yeah, yeah, but some of them dropped out. Some, we had one that died while he was fishing, and some had relationship and got pregnant, da da da. So altogether, we were able to. Uh, there were 39 of them
That you
who
sent to school.
graduated and are now also taking care of our villages in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
So then after that, that's when we said, let's build a foundation because our doctors are asking, is this tax write-off? Could
Mm-hmm.
it be so by the grace of God, we were able to get our 501c3. I didn't even know how we did it, but one day it just came. And there's also a story behind that. Uh, so anyway, that is 2002. And then in 2003, Tito Tony came and introduced GK. And then later on, Dylan came. Of course, I saw, prior to that, I saw this brochure that
Mm-hmm.
that really attracted me because that's what I wanted to have, is to be able to take care of these kids' families. Um,
This
in a,
was a Gawad Kalinga brochure that you're talking
yeah, I saw Gawad Kalinga brochure,
about. Okay.
and it's saying that it includes shelter, education, and bias formation. I said, oh, this is what I want, for
More
my
comprehensive
right. And
programs.
I
Okay.
said, instead of doing it myself, why don't I just, be with them?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, and then I started. Well, first I went to the Philippines and I
Mm-hmm.
looked for a GK village close to my house. Of course, they said, you always start from home. Charity begins at home. So I saw this GK village in Macabebe that was kind of abandoned by the sponsors. And when I met Tito Tony said, "Oh, Carol, you can have that village
Mm-hmm.
because the sponsors are no longer following up on it." So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was able to get connected with the GK Consuelo. That was when I was 50 years old. And the reason why I know I'm 50 because that was my birthday when I came there, and I celebrated with them. So there's a lot of challenges when you go to villages that are not set in the way they should. There are some vices. People, they have um, they have practices of ingit and and all that. So it was not that easy, but I can proudly say that now, 16 years later, it's fully sustainable. We have two fish ponds there. People are really loving each other. It took a little while for that to happen, but I focus on love. I always say that if if you love each other, there is no way that you can't win in this. Um, so now they're that way. Anyway, back to my story about with GK. Is here in the US, I just started telling my story, at whatever I saw, whatever I believed in, that GK is the way. Because we've been helping before, making donations to something, but we don't see the results. So I said, instead of giving it to somebody, let's do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, Tita, how do you? I know you have a lot of ideas and fundraising activities. You're one of the more consistent areas every year. You have something going on, and your this annual events that you're doing this year, or even though it's going to be virtual, it has been going on for years. Every year you do that. But how do you manage, like, dealing with the competition, right? Like, some people would donate to other organizations, which are also obviously, those are other nonprofit organizations are also, worthy of, helping out, and then helping and giving out to. But how do you manage that? How do you manage to compete with the attention that people are giving to various causes? Like you said, you would just donate before and you don't really see any results, right? That's you. But some people, they already have like organizations that they give to, and they could say, oh, I'm already donating to church, I'm already donating to whatever other causes, right? How do you handle that? Yeah, the relationship builder and
Yes, that's what I've always believed, that relationship is the best way to go in anything, in business and in anything. Once you develop that relationship with people, and they're able to see your heart, there is no way that they would say no to you. Actually, we haven't, in the beginning. It's all about showing what you can, or what you can deliver, showing what GK had done to people, from being in shanties to being in colored homes, and all that. Really makes the people saying, oh, this is the right thing. This is I like GK because I can see, this.
the transformation, right?
Yeah, just recently, a friend of mine just called, and he was saying, if you want to build a village, talk to Carol Tulud. Because he's saying that our villages have, like they have livelihood programs. Our preschool are still, going on, even though, at, I think there was, at some period we took out the child and development program, but I think now it's back. But our school has been functioning. There hasn't been interruption. We have our teachers, we have our and then we have livelihood programs. But because we believe that villages should have caretakers.
Mhm.
They in the beginning of GK, we had caretakers, which are the Couples for Christ. But when we became independent, some of the villages didn't have any more caretakers. So with the villages that we're building now, we make sure that we have a
Where do you
caretaker.
get the caretakers now? How do you find them?
With the two villages that we have in Macabebe, in
Mhm.
Pampanga,
Oh,
our
are they both in Macabebe, both
yes,
villages?
the two, the GK Takasan and GK Consuelo, which is their two villages in one location. So there are actually four.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So our our scholars, our graduates,
Mm-hmm.
that is their giving back to the foundation to manage the villages.
Mm-hmm.
They also do the values and the faith formation for the youth. They have activities for the youth and all that. Now in our new village is the second circular village, which is in Concepcion Tarlac. We will be having someone there also to make sure that all the programs are running. Of course, the people there are already well versed on what should be done,
Mm-hmm.
but I really do believe that there should be one person that is making sure that all that is done, and someone is thinking about how to improve people's lives so that they don't just stay being that way. I always tell my families in there, I said, I want to see you driving a car, being able to take your kids out to dinner, I said, I want you to be making 100,000. so so they're saying, where is Mommy Bok? They call me all Mommy Bok.
Uh-huh.
Where's Mommy Bok coming from? When I said, you have two fish ponds, you can make hundreds of pesos there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So
now they're
it helps
doing,
change their vision, right? For
yeah, be with them in their dreams so that they will go far. And also we have a lot of graduates now in the villages. They're teachers, uh, um, and it feels good that in the villages there are college graduates. 3 or 4 years ago, we launched this program for Prayers of Day Foundation, which is the foundation we built so that our doctors' donations will be tax exempt. We launched this program that no child in the GK village that we're handling will be deprived of good education. So now even in GK Consuelo, we have a lot of the students there that we pay for their tuitions and provide them with necessities that the family cannot afford to buy. So,
So, Tita Carol, at this point, I wanted to share with everyone these pictures that you sent me, but a couple of things that I wanted to point out in what you've shared so far, right? You mentioned that you mentioned Circulo Kapampangan, right? You mentioned, I assume you're referring to Circulo Kapampangan, which is another organization that you're very active in. Is that right? You're
mhm.
an officer of Circulo Kapampangan as well?
Yes, I was at the beginning. I think I was president for 6 years.
Right. And I
And
think this is
then,
where your, relationships, with other organizations, really also help with your work for Gawad Kalinga because, like Gawad Kalinga, and I also speak, based on my experience here in the Midwest in Chicago, the time we were very successful was when we worked very well with other organizations as well. And I think that is also the strength of Gawad Kalinga is that we're very inclusive, right?
right.
Welcome anyone and everyone who wants to help the poor. We don't
Mhm.
discriminate at all.
Right, right.
So, and I just really wanted to, point that out.
Yeah, we
The other thing
partner
that
with them.
I'm getting from what you've shared also is doing Gawad Kalinga's work is not a one-time thing. It's not, handing your donation, handing your money, and it's done, right? And I mean, certainly for people who wants to, to just do that and make their own, they make their donation and everything. Every little bit counts, right? If you want to be part of the work, but if you really want to make an impact, like a major impact in families' lives and Filipino families' lives, right? In helping change the landscape in the Philippines from poverty to prosperity, like you, Tita Carol, is doing in your group there in Houston is doing. The work doesn't stop with sending the donation to GKUSA and then eventually to the Philippines. You really have to own it, right? And own the work and really see it through up to the point of, like you said, getting caretakers, making sure that all the programs or the programs that you have set in those villages are in place, that they're working well. And if there's any problem, you're on top of things. You as a GK village builder, you have to be on top of things, right? And so, that's really, and I'm not trying to, to diminish or say that other people's contributions are not important. They're all important. Like I said, they're all every little bit counts. I'm not, I have not built my own village yet. That is still my dream to be able to do that, right? But for those who are building villages, like you are, Tita Carol, that really is a commitment, right? That you get into. And I know it's not easy, but just from what you're sharing, and I wanted to share some pictures here. It seems that it's something that has really also changed your life, not just
Mhm.
the beneficiaries or the recipients of those houses, right? Of the livelihood and all of that, but you seem to also have changed your life. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how your life has changed being part of Gawad Kalinga?
Yeah. Before I say anything about that, I would like to just tell you, nowadays it's easier to connect with with the people that you're helping because of social media.
Right.
Just before we got in this show, they're texting me about how the shrimp and the fish are getting big in the fish pan.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, yes, going back to trying to look at my life on how I have really grown to spiritually and um, you know transformation within myself
mhm.
um, on how understanding more of what God wants us to be. Because at the beginning, when I was helping, it's like, you know, it's the right thing to do. Helping, issuing checks for charities, for churches, and all that. It's the right thing to do. But as I get deeper into the work, um, it's not all about, it's the good thing to do. It's about um, building relationship, loving people regardless of who they are. Because in our region, especially in Pampanga, it's like sometimes I feel like we could be prejudiced, like when you're Kapampangan, you're so eager to really connect and all that. But then when they say other region, it's like, you're just, but here in this work, it's everybody is like Kapampangan for you. You feel so close. Like lately, we've been to Mindanao, we've been to the Apayao, and all that. It's like I really is surprised with myself being able to relate and to love instantly, regardless of who they are and where they come from. That feeling that I think you can only achieve it if you really immerse yourself into the work. I really don't know how to describe the feeling, but I am very happy that that I'm doing this work. And understand more what God is telling us, love thy neighbor.
No, that's wonderful, Tita Carol. I mean, I think I know what you mean, right? Everyone, I think it's a very Filipino thing to be, regionalistic,
Yes.
for better or worse, right? That seems to be,
Yeah.
a cultural thing. But you're right, and in GK, we tear down the boundaries, right? The walls for all Filipinos, right? And even not just Filipinos, for all children of God, because there are some people who are not even Filipinos, like you mentioned, right? Dylan Wilk, right?
Yeah.
And who obviously ended up, marrying a Filipina, Anna.
Mhm.
Lotto Wilk. But in the beginning, when he was involved in Gawad Kalinga, he wasn't really, he's not Filipino. He didn't have any ties to the Philippines, but he loved the Philippines and he loved Filipinos. And that's what Gawad Kalinga does: is we break walls,
Yes.
we break down walls, and and I think that's really what God is intended for us to be, is to be one family of brothers and sisters, right? So at
Yeah.
this point, I'm going to share some of the pictures that you sent. So maybe you can just walk us through
Yeah.
as I.
Yes. Some are, these kids are the Prayers of Day Foundation kids that doing their activities include GK. So that I think they attended the expo there in Manila. And this is one picture that the ambassadors there and their relatives. Actually, most of them are Ariel Gutierrez relatives, that they were able to involve them in the local work in the Philippines. And these are my Chamberlain nurses, interns. They like to ride the tricycle.
They were from Houston, Tita, and they.
No, these are from a different, like some are from Arizona, some are from Chicago. Yeah, Chamberlain gets students from different branches all over the U.S. Whoever is willing to do immersion, and they bring so much things. Their suitcases are full of just gifts for people, because I mentioned
they are giving all of these away, right?
Yeah, I mentioned to them that it is part of our tradition when you come visit to bring
To bring
gifts.
gifts.
Yeah,
Pasalubong.
so before they go home, or
What about this? They're cutting hair.
Yeah, and this is the GK Consuelo at the very beginning. People have long hairs. They even have, I'm sorry to say, lice, and all that. And I admire this young nurses that knows how to cut hair to even, not even worry about being contaminated with lice, with
Wow.
and all that, and passionately helping. And I can say that this is the one of the best group that I
Yes,
have
you've done.
in the past. They were at the beginning of GK Consuelo. They did the groundbreaking, and they didn't want to leave. They want to. They they said, why can't we just stay here and finish the homes? So.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this is I have two nuns that I mean, you know, they help me with faith and values formation. They're from Tacloban, and from time to time they come to GK Consuelo to do faith formation. And we also have some visitors there. I think that,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. Okay, this is one of the interesting trips of the Texas for GK ambassadors. I take them to this place where it's it's flooded every
This
high.
is flood, Tita. This isn't river.
This is river, but inside you will see the kids that are playing basketball. Um, they are flooded every, yeah, that one. High tide every day,
Where
360.
in Pampanga was this?
This is in Consuelo, and
Macabe.
the people that we house at the 53 homes that we built in GK Consuelo, most of the people came from here. And when we marketed that that village, that was what we said, that this people lives in an area where it's flooded 365 days a year, you
Oh,
know, during
wow.
high tide. And
Was this
this,
in Macabebe, Tita, or
yeah,
no?
yeah, very remote place between
Uh-huh.
Macabebe and Masantol. Yeah. So I think in this one, I also take the ambassadors to a cemetery where the people lives in the cemetery. So I think this is one of them, that behind this little shanty, there is a cemetery. I think this one is in Leyte.
Mm.
There's a village there built by people from California. Their multipurpose is not done yet, so
Mhm.
that's where it is.
The
This is one
kids.
of our Cebu school in Circulo Kapampangan village. It
Mhm.
was built by our psychiatrist in the office,
Okay.
and the reason why this one has still been functioning and all that from 2008 up through now, because the sponsor gives a yearly donation to pay the teacher, and also feeding for the children, and any necessary supplies they need for school, and the maintenance of the building. He's one of my very dedicated supporter, and he's like family to us. He said he's Filipino. He said, I'm a Filipino Russian.
So, Tita, at this point, let's invite everyone to your event and
Yes.
coming up on November 21st, right?
Mhm.
Let me share the let me share the poster.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk to us about this.
Yeah. So just like I said, this is our first initiative for 2020. Since there is COVID, this is the best that we can do. And we have singers from New York, and that volunteered to sing for us, and also a young lady from the Philippines, Christine, and of course our very own Ariel Maliksi is actually doing a lot of this work, organizing it and making sure that we will have a successful one. Um, so hopefully,
All
I'm
right. So
praying.
it will be on November 21st That's a Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So take note that we have all like different time zones because it is a virtual event. So everyone
Mhm.
can join. You don't have to be physically there, obviously, right? So hopefully
Right.
there will be a lot of us who will be tuning in for that. To register, please visit www.gk-usa.org, and
Mhm.
donation is $15. We know there's many of you who can do better than $15, but for just $15, you can listen to these wonderful artists who will be sharing their talents, for the poor in the Philippines.
Yes.
So on that note, let me just also share with you some of the events that are happening in November. I will ask you, Tita Carol, for your final message and final thoughts. So I'll give you some time to little bit while I do the announcement. So that was the Rhythms of Love and Hope. That is the event by the Houston Go with Kalinga USA group, November 21st, Saturday, and you got all those details from that poster we just showed you. Also on November 28th, right, we have the Wellness for a Cause Thanksgiving cooking class, right? Featuring Chef Noel from Dubai. So he will be sharing some recipes for that you might be able to use to gift your friends and family this coming holidays, right? Also, I have my own personal fundraising, Tita Carol, that actually I launched on November 1st, right? November 1st is traditionally um, remembered, or we remember the our families and friends who have and loved ones who have passed on November 1st, and we offer a mass and prayers for them and everything. Obviously, we Rabbi and myself and my mom did that, but we also launched something for the living on November 1st, and that is our fundraising Tree for the Hungry, and we're trying to raise funds to help our in support of our Be a Hunger Warrior campaign by Gawad Kalina, right? We're trying to raise funds to feed the hungry children in the Philippines. So that November 1st we launched it, and that will be going on until November 30th. We are hanging ornaments, Christmas ornaments for every donation.
Oh,
We hang a mini parol on our tree. So we put up our tree November 1st, way too early. So hopefully by Thanksgiving, we'll have it all filled up with ornaments with all the donations we receive, and also lit up, right? Which symbolizes hope for our people in the Philippines. And then we have starting on December 5th, we have the Move, Feed, Give as One, right? Project that was a brainchild of Mayor Amante, which will start in December, right? December 5th to 31st. So a lot of things that will be going on. We will be giving additional information in the weeks that are coming. And yeah, so in the weeks to come, more information. So stay tuned. Tita Carol, any parting words for our friends and family here in Gawad Kalinga, USA, and also Gawad Kalinga in the Philippines and everywhere in the world? Because we are, after all, virtual.
yeah, well, I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that supported us. Thank you to Texas 4GK, our hardworking volunteers, making sure that all our projects are done. To our caretakers in the Philippines, thank you for all your sacrifices, including our foster children of Prayers of Day Foundation, um, and also the families in our GK villages, um, the love and support that they give to each other. And we welcome our new families in Concepcion Tarlac, the 26 families, and we look forward to working with you as far as, making sure that you will have sustainable livelihood there. They just moved in last week, so we're
Nice.
excited about that.
Yes, exciting.
My main message is, I guess, for everybody, if God is calling you to help others, don't hesitate. God will show you the way. He will send you the people who will help you and provide you all the necessary resources. Thank you, Donna, for giving me this opportunity. And
Thank you, Tita Carol. It has been an honor for me to chat with you this evening.
yeah,
And
and to my
inspiring.
very special friend Maricel, thank you for volunteering, forcing me to do this. I'm not a good public speaker, so but I'm glad Donna made me comfortable.
I'm glad. I'm very happy to hear that, Tita. This is just really kwentuhan. This is just really having a
I know.
conversation. Cuento is stories, and also kwentuhan is having a conversation. And so for those of our friends who don't speak Tagalog or who don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, and also thank you for all the GK workers of the Philippines. More
Yes.
power to you, more power to Dan, to Luis, to Bodoy, to everybody that's there. We love you very much. We're sorry we can't see you because the airport does not allow us to come in.
Yeah. All
We
right.
look forward for the day that we can come visit you again.
Right.
And
Well,
we
we all pray for this pandemic to end very soon so we can
yeah,
all gather together, break bread, right? And
yeah,
hug each other and just share love all around. And that's
exactly.
the message that I got from Tita Carol tonight. And it's always a pleasure for me to chat with different people who love the poor. And I honor Tita Carol and all of the GK village builders who remain loyal and committed. I know, we all know that it's not an easy task, but like Tita Carol said, when God calls you, when God appoints, He anoints, right? And so we have absolute faith that He continues to look into this work and bless us with resources like Tita Carol said, for us to continue to do the work for the poor, which is really the work of God. So on that note, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This has been episode 9 of Quantum GK with Tita Carol Tulud, one of our board of directors based in Houston, Texas. Have a good night, everyone, and see you next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Bye.
Good night. Bye
Tita
bye.
Carol.